This is the Mind the Gap podcast from the Time Signal Limited. It's presented by Michael Comyn. Please like, subscribe and share with your friends. Program notes and more information are available on mindthegap.ie. Here's Michael.
If you've heard any of my earlier episodes, you might know I'm fascinated by the ideas that come from emotional intelligence, CBT, Stoicism, and a man called Viktor Frankl. And the idea is that our minds are constantly gathering information from the world around us. But there's a twist. Much of this information is often distorted or false. Our brains, designed to assess threats and opportunities, sometimes misinterpret neutral or harmless situations as dangerous, triggering a cycle of anxiety and stress. This isn't just an idle observation, it's a cornerstone of how we experience emotions. Whether it's a passing comment that we interpret as criticism or an imagined future failure that never happens, we frequently let external stimuli, flawed perceptions, and biases dictate our emotional state. But what if this anxiety is something we can master? All these frameworks, whether emotional intelligence, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, Stoicism, or Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, teach us that we have the power to step back, reframe, and challenge these misinterpretations. They suggest that while we can't always control the information our brains take in, we can control how we process and respond to it. And in that lies the key to emotional mastery, recognizing that our thoughts and worries are not always rooted in reality, and learning to react rationally and calmly. The Stoic Seneca has provided a clue to us as to how to create a state of mind that makes us less likely to be fooled.
The mind must be given relaxation. It will rise improved and sharper after a good break. Just as rich fields must not be forced, for they will quickly lose their fertility if never given a break, so constant work on the anvil will fracture the force of the mind. But it regains its powers if it is set free and relaxed for a while. Constant work gives rise to a certain kind of dullness and feebleness in the rational soul.
So last week, I took Seneca's advice and took a break that involved a 2-hour, 50-minute flight on a well-known low-cost carrier. Not an unpleasant experience this time, and made it a little easier by the suggestion of a friend to bring an iPad preloaded with a film to pass the time. The film recommended was Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. A lovely, gentle film, sure to help quieten the mind, you'd think. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris is a heartwarming story about Ada Harris, played by Leslie Manville, a widowed cleaning lady in the 1950s in London who dreams of owning a Christian Dior gown. After saving enough money, she travels to Paris to buy the dress, where she faces initial resistance but wins over the staff with her kindness and determination. But here's the catch. As I watched this lovely film, I was constantly anticipating something awful would happen to the main character. I was creating a drama above and beyond the storyline and the efforts of the film's director, Antoni Fabian, who also co-wrote the screenplay. Why? Well, I have a few theories worth exploring in this episode of Mind the Gap. Background: general anxiety. The kind of persistent, low-level worry many of us feel is likely exacerbated by the constant barrage of negative information from news and social media. Both platforms thrive on attention, and nothing grabs attention more than crises, disaster, and conflict. We're continuously exposed to sensational headlines and emotionally charged content that paints a world filled with instability, danger, and division. This constant flow of negative stimuli reinforces a mental expectation that things are likely to go wrong, which can fuel anxiety even when there's no immediate threat in our personal lives. From a psychological perspective, whether through the lens of cognitive behavioral therapy or Stoicism, this phenomenon is problematic because it primes our mind to perceive threats where none exist. Social media amplifies this by encouraging comparison, fostering a sense that we're not living up to the idealized lives others present online. The Stoics would argue that this is a fundamental misalignment of focus, as we become overly attached to things outside our control. The state of the world, the opinions of others, or the fear of future disasters. Viktor Frankl's work echoes this, suggesting that finding meaning and purpose in life requires us to transcend external chaos and focus on our internal values and choices. In short, constant exposure to negative media and the expectation of things going wrong creates a mental environment ripe for anxiety, where our minds fixate on worst-case scenarios. Reclaiming peace in this context requires us to deliberately step back, to challenge these thoughts and focus on what we can control: our reactions, choices, and how we engage with the world. So we've all felt that lingering background anxiety, right? The kind that's not tied to anything specific, but seems to sit with us throughout the day. A big part of that anxiety can come from constantly being bombarded with negative news and social media. Whenever we open our phones, there's a new disaster, scandal, or something else that makes us feel like the world is falling apart. And let's be honest, that constant flow of bad news can easily trick our minds into thinking that things will go wrong. Is there any good news? Well, there is. There are some efficient ways that we can deal with this and take back control of our anxiety. It starts with being more aware about what we're letting into our heads. News and social media are designed to grab our attention with drama and negativity, which can fuel anxiety. A simple fix: set limits. Decide when and how long you'll spend scrolling, and maybe take a break from social media for a few days. During those breaks, fill your time with something that feeds your mind more positively, like reading, walking, or spending time with those positive friends in your circle. Also, try curating your social feeds so that they're filled with things that inspire or educate you, not just the latest outrage take over from the algorithm. Ever notice how your brain can spiral into worst-case scenarios at the drop of a hat? That's where cognitive restructuring, a CBT technique, comes in handy. When you catch yourself thinking, what if everything goes wrong? Take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, is this true? Am I jumping to conclusions? Or is there evidence that this bad thing will happen? This helps you step back from those anxious thoughts and see the situation more clearly. One of the more extraordinary things about Stoicism is its emphasis on daily self-reflection. Taking a few minutes to look back at the end of each day can help you stay grounded. You ask yourself, what did I worry about today? And was it worth it? Or did I get stressed about things I can't control? By reflecting on this, you'll start to notice patterns in your thinking, and over time, you can change how you react to challenges. It's so easy to get caught up in what's going wrong that we forget to anticipate what's going right. That's where a gratitude journal or diary comes in. Every now and then, you write down 3 things that you're grateful for. They don't have to be life-changing events, like a sunny day, a kind word from a friend, or even your favourite cup of coffee will do. And doing this regularly will shift your focus away from all the harmful noise and help you see the good already in your life. Anxiety loves to feed on what-if thinking. What if the worst happens? What if I fail? These thoughts can spiral out of control. A Stoic approach to this, instead of getting stuck in what if, try reframing it to what will I do if the worst happens? This puts you in a proactive mindset. So you're not just waiting for bad things to happen, you're preparing yourself to handle them if they do. And usually the worst isn't as bad as we imagined. Improving your emotional intelligence is one of the best ways to control anxiety. This means being aware of your emotions as they come up instead of letting them run the show. For example, if you start feeling anxious after reading bad news or seeing something on social media, pause and name the feeling. Okay, I'm feeling anxious. Then ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this a real threat? Or am I reacting to something I just can't control? This little mental check-in can stop anxiety in its tracks and give you more clarity. This one might sound strange, but hear me out. Stoics have this practice called negative visualization, where they intentionally imagine the worst case scenario. Why? Because it helps you prepare mentally for challenges and makes you realize you can handle more than you think. So next time you're anxious about something, try calmly visualizing the worst that could happen and how you'll deal with it. Often you'll find it not as bad as you feared, and you'll feel more confident that you can handle whatever comes your way. Dr. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian neurologist, psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, best known for developing logotherapy, a form of existential analysis that emphasizes the search for meaning as the central human drive. Born in 1905 in Vienna, he lived through the horrors of the Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz, and lost most of his family. His experiences in these camps profoundly shaped his psychological theories. Frankl's major work, Man's Search for Meaning, written after his release, reflects on his time in the camps and how he observed that those who found meaning in their suffering were better able to survive the unimaginable hardships. He believed that even in the most difficult circumstances, humans have the freedom to choose their attitude and find meaning, which is essential for psychological well-being. Viktor Frankl talked about how finding meaning in life can help you push through difficult times. One way to reduce anxiety is to focus on something meaningful to you, a project, a goal, or even helping someone else. When you have a sense of purpose, it gives you direction and motivation, and suddenly the little things that stress you just don't feel as overwhelming. Ask yourself, what can I work on today that aligns with my values? Focusing on purpose can help you avoid worrying about things beyond your control. And I know you've heard this before, but physical activity is one of the easiest and most effective ways to reduce anxiety. Whether it's a walk, a workout, yoga, moving your body releases tension and calms your mind. By practicing these simple activities, you can start to reduce that background anxiety and regain control of your mental space. It's all about being intentional, choosing what you let in and how you respond to it, and focusing on what you can control. Over time, these little changes can significantly improve handling life's challenges, no matter what the world throws at you. Well, I'm off now to rewatch the film Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, which also beautifully illustrates many core tenets of Stoic philosophy, particularly resilience, virtue, and the power of focusing on what we can control. Mrs. Harris's journey is not just about obtaining a material object, it's a story of personal growth, human connection, and discovering deeper values. A journey that aligns with the Stoic pursuit of wisdom and inner tranquility. In today's world, where news and social media constantly bombard us with negativity, it's no wonder many of us feel a persistent sense of anxiety. This background worry can be fueled by the expectation that things will go wrong, even where there's no immediate threat. By practicing mindful media consumption, challenging negative thoughts, daily reflections, and journaling your gratitude, we can begin to take back control. Stoic techniques like negative visualization and focusing on what we can control, along with finding purpose in everyday actions, can significantly reduce this anxiety. Anxiety thrives in a world filled with uncertainty, but we have the tools to manage it. By shifting our focus inwards and applying strategies like those from Stoicism, CBT, and emotional intelligence, we can reduce the impact of external stressors and find more peace in our daily lives. It's about regaining control over how we respond to life's challenges and learning to cultivate resilience, no matter what's happening around us. Mind the Gap.
Thank you for listening to the Mind the Gap podcast, presented by Michael Common. Please like, share, and recommend us to your friends. You'll find more episodes on mindthegap.ie. This has been a Time Signal production, copyright 2024.